two definitions or topics that we need to talk about in degrees and radian measurements is what we call quadrantal angles and coterminal angles. First off, the quadrantal angle is an angle that lies on the x or y axis. So for example, if I were to graph the angle measured 90 degrees, 90 degrees lands on the positive y-axis. Right? We call this a quadrantal angle because it does not land in quadrants 1, 2, 3, or 4. It lands on one of the axes. So a quadrantal angle is always a multiple of positive or negative 90 degrees, or in radian measurements, that would be positive or negative pi over 2. Recall that 90 degrees is equal to pi over 2 in radians. The second term that we were talking about is coterminal angles. Coterminal angles are two angles that have the same terminal side. Remember, terminal side is where they end. Right? There are infinitely many coterminal angles. So, for an example, give a positive and negative coterminal angle of 45 degrees. If I draw an angle at 45 degrees, right, I want to create an angle that is coterminal. So, what I can do is I can now draw an angle that goes all the way around the circle and goes all the way back to 45 degrees. Now when I do that, I went 45 degrees plus another 360. So what I have is 45 degrees plus 360, and that gives me a total of 405 degrees. So the angle 45 and 405 is coterminal. They both end at the same spot, the same terminal side. I could subtract 360 as well. If I take 45 degrees minus 360, that would give me negative 315 degrees. 45 and 315 are coterminal. So instead of going counterclockwise, I could go clockwise 45 degrees plus another 360. And once again, I'd have another coterminal angle. And I can repeat this over and over. That is why there's infinitely many coterminal angles. If I'm talking about radian measurements, recall that pi over 4 is equal to 45 degrees. It's one of our commonly used measurements. Instead of adding 360, I could add 2 pi. Well, to add 2 pi, I need a common denominator. So pi over 4 plus 8 pi over 4 would give me 9 pi over 4. Therefore, pi over 4 is a coterminal angle in 9 pi over 4. Or I could subtract. I could take pi over 4 minus 2 pi, which is equivalent to pi over 4 minus 8 pi over 4, and that would give me negative 7 pi over 4. So two coterminal angles to pi over 4 are 9 pi over 4 and negative 7 pi over 4. So again, coterminal angles, there's infinitely many coterminal angles. I can add and subtract 360 as many times as I want, and I would get two coterminal angles. Or in terms of radians, I can add and subtract 2 pi as many times as I want, and I will get infinitely many coterminal